Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable U.S. coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. Have you ever stopped to wonder if one of the pennies sitting quietly in your pocket or coin jar could actually be worth a fortune? Sounds far-fetched, right? But in the world of rare coins, even a humble 1-cent piece can turn out to be a hidden treasure. Today, we're shining a spotlight on a very specific and highly collectible coin, the 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny. It might seem ordinary at first glance, but this coin has quite the story to tell. And for some lucky collectors, it has brought incredible rewards. The Lincoln penny has always been more than just spare change. Since it first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it has become one of the most collected coins in American history, but not all Lincoln pennies are created equal. Certain years stand out, and 1960 is one of those years that truly captured the attention of coin enthusiasts across the nation. That year produced some surprising varieties that became legendary in numismatic circles. In 1960, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. That alone isn't unusual. But what happened next would forever change the way collectors viewed this seemingly common coin. During that year, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints released two different versions of the penny, a large date and a small date variety. The difference lies in the size and shape of the numbers in the date, and those subtle differences have huge implications for collectors. The small date, 1960 penny, especially the one minted in Philadelphia, turned out to be far less common than the large date version. And when collectors began noticing the difference, a new collecting craze began. The 1960 small date Lincoln cent became one of the most hunted coins in pocket change, coin rolls, and bank boxes. People began carefully inspecting the number 0 in 1960. The small date version has a more oval shape and is slightly higher than the large date version. The Denver Mint added another twist. In 1960, a small number of Denver minted pennies featured a repunched mint mark, where the D was punched into the die more than once, creating a bold, doubling effect that caught collectors' eyes. These repunched mint mark, or RPM, varieties are especially valuable when found in mint condition. That means they haven't been circulated or damaged, still retaining that original red copper glow from the moment they were struck. Coin grading also plays a critical role in determining value. A 1960 penny with a rare variety that grades at MS65 or above becomes a major attraction for collectors and investors alike. Mint state red examples are particularly prized. While billions of pennies were minted in 1960, only a fraction featured the small date or repunched mint mark variations. And of those, even fewer survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. So how can you tell if your 1960 penny might be worth something? It starts with a good magnifying glass. Examine the date carefully. Is the 6 tall and slender? Is the 0 higher and more oval-shaped? You may have a small date penny in your hand, then check for a mint mark. If you see a D under the date, it came from the Denver Mint. Look closely. Is that D clearly doubled or offset? That could be a valuable RPM variety. Another major factor is luster and color. Collectors look for the original red hue that copper coins have when freshly minted. Over time, most pennies turn brown from oxidation. But those that remain bright red are considered gems. Now imagine finding a small date penny in brilliant uncirculated condition, with a doubled mint mark and perfect strike. That's the kind of coin that sets auction records and turns everyday people into overnight owners of rare treasure. Coin roll hunters often search through boxes of pennies from the bank just to find a single example of this rare 1960 cent. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, but the reward can be massive. What makes coins like the 1960 penny so exciting is that they're still out there. They weren't all scooped up decades ago. Some are hiding in old coffee cans, forgotten drawers, and passed-down collections, just waiting to be discovered. That's what fuels the fascination. You don't need to be a millionaire to start collecting coins. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye for detail. The next great find could be sitting in your pocket change right now. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC offer certification for coins suspected of being rare varieties. This process verifies authenticity and provides an official grade, which is essential for serious collectors and auction houses. Once a coin is authenticated, its value can skyrocket. Collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade small-date pennies from 1960, and competition for the best examples can be intense. The 1960 penny is also a great reminder of how even the smallest design changes can have a lasting impact. A subtle adjustment in the engraving led to a nationwide treasure hunt that continues to this day. Collectors love telling the story of the 1960 small-date variety. It adds depth, mystery, and excitement to the simple penny, transforming it into a coin with character and history. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone who enjoys going through coins for fun, the 1960 penny is one of the most exciting pieces you can come across. It's a symbol of how overlooked items can hold immense value, and even though it's just 1 cent, it represents a much larger story, one about rarity, history, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. So the next time you come across a penny, take a moment. Turn it over. Look at the date. Inspect the mint mark. Because in a world full of unnoticed treasures, 1 second of curiosity could change everything. That's exactly what happened when a rare 1960 Lincoln penny, featuring the small date variety and a stunning repunched mint mark, was discovered in flawless condition by a sharp-eyed collector. This particular penny was preserved in mint state red, expertly graded, and auctioned off to an eager buyer who understood just how unique it was, and the final price that rare 1960 Lincoln penny sold for. An astonishing $200,000, yes, from 1 cent to $200,000. So never underestimate the value of a coin in your pocket. It might just be worth far more than you think. Top 2. Have you ever stared at a penny and thought, could this tiny coin be the key to a small fortune? For most people, a penny is just a copper-colored piece of change. But for those who know what to look for, it can mean something far greater. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story behind the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that continues to surprise collectors, historians, and everyday Americans alike. At first glance, there's nothing unusual about a penny from 1975. It features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. You've likely seen thousands of these in your lifetime, but beneath that simple surface lies a rich history, a world of numismatic intrigue, and yes, a possibility that your ordinary pocket change could be worth a life-changing sum. The 1975 penny was struck during a time of transition in American coinage. The country had recently weathered the economic uncertainty of the early 1970s, and inflation was beginning to shape decisions at the U.S. Mint. The Lincoln cent had already been in production since 1909, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. In 1959, the wheat stalks on the reverse were replaced with the Lincoln Memorial, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday. By the mid-70s, coin production was running at full speed, but that didn't stop a number of unexpected quirks, errors, and varieties from appearing in the coins that were minted, including those from 1975. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1975 Lincoln penny is its minting inconsistencies. These errors, which might seem like simple mistakes, have turned certain 1975 pennies into prized collectibles. Some coins were struck off-center. Others had double dies, where the images or letters appear slightly duplicated. A few even show die cracks or planchet flaws that make each coin unique, but the real stars of the 1975 penny lineup are those with unusual features that only become obvious under close inspection, minor imperfections that raise their value exponentially when authenticated. Collectors have spent decades searching for these rare error coins. They examine every detail, the spacing between letters, the clarity of Lincoln's portrait, the positioning of the date, and even the shape of the mint mark. Speaking of mint marks, 1975 pennies were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Denver pennies bear a D under the date, while the Philadelphia coins have no mint mark at all. In high-grade condition, both mint versions of the 1975 penny can hold value. But when errors and unusual traits are added to the mix, that value begins to soar. One popular error to look for is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to stamp the coin shifts slightly between strikes, resulting in doubled images. especially noticeable on the date and lettering. Another highly sought-after variety is the off-center strike. When the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, it's struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing. The more off-center the strike, while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. Then there's the clipped planchet error. This happens when a blank coin is cut from a sheet of metal and the punch overlaps the edge, leaving a curved or irregular clip on the coin. Each of these rare errors turns a simple penny into a fascinating piece of history. And while they were never intended by the US Mint, they are now cherished by collectors worldwide. The condition of the coin also plays a huge role in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being a perfect mint state coin. Even a regular 1975 penny in MS-66 or MS-67 can fetch a good price. That if the coin has an error and it's in high-grade condition, it can be worth many times its face value. These are the types of coins that collectors go to great lengths to acquire. The redder the copper luster, the more valuable the penny becomes. Most circulated pennies turn brown over time, but uncirculated coins retain that rich, reddish gold tone that collectors crave. Finding a 1975 penny in pristine condition is rare enough. Finding one with a recognized mint error, in near-perfect condition, is like striking gold. It's the reason many collectors still search bank rolls and old jars for hidden gems. Coin roll hunting has become a favorite hobby among collectors, especially those searching for error coins from the 1970s. Boxes of pennies are picked through with magnifying glasses and scales, all in search of that one perfect find. That it's a hobby rooted in patience, detail, and discovery, where a few cents can potentially turn into thousands of dollars. And it all starts with knowing what to look for. Coin experts recommend checking the edges, weighing your pennies, and looking closely at the date and mint mark. Even small anomalies can lead to big surprises. Once you believe you found something special, it's essential to get the coin professionally graded. Trusted companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade that determines its value on the open market. When a coin is officially graded and labeled as an error variety, it becomes far more appealing to collectors, especially if it's one of only a few known examples. Auction houses and private collectors regularly pay top dollar for these certified error coins. And over the years, the demand for rare Lincoln cents, especially from the 1970s, has only grown. There's something powerful about holding a piece of American history in your hand, a coin that's been through decades of change, yet survived in perfect form. Each penny has a story to tell. Sometimes it's a story of error, other times a story of endurance. And in rare cases, it's the story of an unexpected fortune. That if you're someone who loves a good treasure hunt, take a second look at your change. That 1975 penny might not be just pocket money, it could be a passport to the world of rare coins. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Among the rarest and most pristine 1975 Lincoln pennies ever found was one with a dramatic mint error, exceptional red color, and certified mint state condition. That very penny, verified by professional graders and sold at a high-profile auction, stunned collectors with its final selling price. It was purchased for exactly $150,000. Yes. A single penny that turned into a six-figure reward. So the next time you see a 1975 Lincoln cent, don't toss it aside. Examine it closely. Because what seems like a simple coin might just be a hidden treasure worth more than you ever imagined. Top 3. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, this couldn't possibly be worth more than a cent? You wouldn't be alone. But what if I told you that a tiny coin from 1978, yes, just 1 cent, could be worth a staggering amount of money? You're about to discover how a seemingly ordinary 1978 Lincoln penny has stunned collectors and turned into one of the most valuable coins of its time. This is a story of rarity, hidden errors, copper secrets, and treasure hiding in plain sight. The Lincoln cent is an icon of American currency. Since it first entered circulation in 1909, it has become the most widely collected coin in the U.S. But every year, there are a few pennies that stand out. The year 1978 is one of those years. At the surface, the 1978 penny looks like any other. It features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that was in place from 1959 to 2008. But beneath that familiar design lies a secret that only a trained eye would notice. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1978. Over 5.5 billion coins came from the Philadelphia Mint, and over 4.2 billion were struck at the Denver Mint. With such high production numbers, you'd think every 1978 penny would be common, right? That's where things get interesting. Because amidst those billions, a few coins were struck with very specific, rare minting errors that have made them unbelievably valuable to collectors today. One of the most exciting features collectors look for in the 1978 penny is the presence of a double die. This type of error occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice slightly out of alignment. You can usually spot this by looking at the date or the word Liberty. They may appear doubled. Double die errors are not always visible to the casual observer. Many go unnoticed for decades until someone with a magnifying glass and a sharp eye discovers them. And that's when the true value of the penny begins to shine. Another variety from 1978 that turns heads is the off-center strike. These errors occur when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned in the press, causing the design to be off to one side. If enough of the date is visible, these off-center coins can command a huge premium. Then there are the broad-struck coins. These happen when a coin is struck without the collar that keeps its shape. The result is a stretched, warped coin with irregular edges. These mistakes, though unintentional, are highly sought after. Clipped planchet errors are also on the radar for collectors. This error appears as if someone took a bite out of the coin. It occurs when a blank is cut too close to the edge of the metal strip used to make coins. It's rare, eye-catching, and adds serious value to an otherwise normal penny. All of these errors, when paired with excellent condition, make the 1978 penny far more desirable. That's why coin grade plays a huge role. Coins are rated from 1 to 70, with MS, mint state, 60 and above being uncirculated. A 1978 penny in MS 66 or higher can be worth significantly more than its face value. But when that penny also has a recognized mint error, now we're talking about the kind of coin collectors fight over. Even the coin's color matters. Collectors prefer red pennies, coins that retain their original copper luster. Most circulated coins darken over time, turning brown or red-brown. But a red 1978 penny in perfect condition is a stunning sight. The Denver Mint pennies carry a D below the date, while Philadelphia coins from 1978 carry no mint mark. Both versions have error varieties worth hunting for, and collectors often specialize in finding both types. So how do you know if your 1978 penny is special? Start with a magnifying glass. Check the date, the mint mark, the edges, and the details in Lincoln's face and coat. Look for doubling, cracks, or any signs of irregularities. Some of the most valuable 1978 pennies have been discovered in jars, drawers, and even under couch cushions. Others have been pulled from old coin rolls, which is why coin roll hunting has become such a popular hobby. Coin roll hunters get boxes of pennies from banks and inspect each one, hoping to find that elusive gem, a rare error coin in high grade hiding among the common ones. It's a game of patience and precision. What makes this so exciting is that these coins are still out there. The 1978 penny is not ancient. It's still circulating. And somewhere, tucked away in a box or change purse, is a penny that could change someone's life. When you think about it, coins are like time capsules. The 1978 penny carries the story of an era, a time when America was adjusting to inflation, technology was evolving, and coin collecting was rising in popularity. Back then, no one knew that a few of those copper coins would someday be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. They were used, spent, and saved, but only the most unique survived in top condition. Get your 1978 penny evaluated, send it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate your coin, confirm any errors, and assign it an official grade. That's how serious collectors determine true market value, and once your coin is graded and confirmed as rare or valuable, the options open up. You could list it in an auction, sell it to a private buyer, or keep it as a prized piece of your collection. Some collectors even form emotional attachments to these coins. After all, they're not just metal, they're pieces of history. Each one has its own story, its own path, and its own place in the world of numismatics. That's what makes the Lincoln penny so special. It's small, but powerful. Overlooked, yet rich with possibilities. And the 1978 version proves that even a modern coin can become a legendary treasure. Whether you're just getting into coin collecting or have been doing it for years, always keep an eye on the 1978 penny. Examine every detail. You might be one discovery away from something incredible, because in the world of coins, the next big find could come from your very own change jar, your old piggy bank, or your grandparents' forgotten drawer. And now, after all the detail, history, and excitement, let's talk about the rarest known 1978 penny. This coin featured a dramatic double die error, nearly flawless mint condition, and the coveted red copper color that it was graded by experts and authenticated as one of the best preserved examples of its kind. Collectors around the world watched as it went to auction, and in the end, this rare 1978 Lincoln penny sold for a jaw-dropping total of $135,000. So don't dismiss that penny in your pocket, because 1 cent could turn out to be the best investment of your life. Top 4. Have you ever glanced at a penny and thought it wasn't worth your time? Well, what if that tiny coin sitting at the bottom of your drawer was worth far more than you ever imagined? In today's video, we're uncovering the hidden value behind the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that may look ordinary but can actually be a miniature goldmine if you know what to look for. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation for well over a century, and every year of its production carries its own story. But few people realize that even relatively modern coins like the 1980 penny can be rare, collectible, and worth big money. The 1980 penny came at the end of a fascinating decade in American history. The economy was shifting, inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was adjusting its coin production strategies. In the middle of this, a few special coins slipped through, and they're now worth a fortune. In 1980, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These mints created billions of coins combined. But among those billions were a handful of unusual pieces, coins that collectors spend years hunting for. The design of the 1980 penny features the familiar face of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This design was used from 1959 until 2008, but in certain years, especially 1980, some coins came out with unexpected traits. Let's start with one of the most exciting elements: error coins. These are pennies that left the mint with defects, mistakes that make them incredibly rare and valuable to collectors. And in 1980, there were some truly remarkable errors. One error to keep an eye out for is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is stamped more than once, creating a visible doubling effect on the lettering or the date. If you see Liberty or the 1980 date doubled, you may be looking at something special. Then there's the off-center strike, which occurs when the penny blank isn't aligned correctly in the press. If the coin is significantly off-center but still shows the full date, it could be worth far more than 1 cent. Another variety is the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar. This makes the coin look larger than normal with a smooth, flat edge instead of a raised rim. Clipped planchet errors are also highly collectible. These are coins that appear as though a portion has been cut off. This error happens when the metal strip used to punch blanks overlaps during cutting, leaving a crescent-shaped clip. Let's not forget the transitional errors. These are coins struck with the wrong metal composition or design due to leftover dies or planchets from a previous year. While rarer in 1980, transitional errors have occurred and are highly valuable when discovered. Now, while mint errors are exciting, condition is equally important. Coin grading plays a major role in determining how much your 1980 penny could be worth. Grading ranges from poor to perfect, with mint state coins rated between MS60 to MS70. Collectors especially prize coins graded MS65 and above. These pennies appear uncirculated and retain their original luster, a glowing, coppery shine that reflects the light and catches the eye. Another key aspect is the color. Pennies come in 3 color classifications: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red, RD. Red coins, which have not darkened over time, are worth the most and are often found in coin sets or untouched rolls. Some of the most valuable 1980 pennies are those with both an error and a high grade. A double die or off-center coin that's also MS66 red. That's the kind of combination that sends collectors into a bidding frenzy. The 1980 pennies minted in Philadelphia are notable for being the first Philadelphia pennies to feature the peak mint mark. Before 1980, Philadelphia pennies carried no mint mark at all. This historic change makes the 1980 penny extra collectible. On the other hand, the Denver Mint coins have a small d below the date. While billions were made, those with errors or in flawless condition can be surprisingly valuable, especially if they're bright red and uncirculated. Some collectors even look for tiny details like repunched mint marks, where the mint mark appears to have been struck more than once in slightly different positions. These small anomalies are a big deal in the coin world. So how do you find these hidden treasures? Many people are turning to coin roll hunting, searching through rolls of pennies from the bank in hopes of discovering an error coin or a high-grade piece that's been forgotten for decades. It's like a treasure hunt, except the treasure could be sitting in your house right now. Old jars, coin purses, and even parking meter change could be hiding a valuable 1980 penny just waiting to be discovered. If you think you found something rare, the next step is to get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations evaluate the coin's authenticity, assign a grade, and provide documentation that increases its value. Once your penny is graded, you can take it to auction, sell it privately, or keep it in your collection as a prized possession. Some collectors see these coins as investments that only grow in value over time, and believe it or not, some of the most valuable 1980 pennies weren't discovered until decades later. They sat forgotten in collections, waiting for the right moment and the right collector to recognize their worth. That's what makes coin collecting so fascinating, the idea that something so small, so simple, could hold such incredible value. All you need is a little knowledge and a lot of curiosity. Every coin has a story, and the 1980 Lincoln penny is no different. It's more than just a piece of metal. It's a piece of history. A snapshot of America in 1980, frozen in copper and waiting to be rediscovered, and while billions were made, only a few were made special, by error, by chance, or by condition. Those are the coins that live on in collections and command top prices at auction. So the next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Examine it closely. Flip it over. Look at the edges. Because hidden in plain sight might be one of the rarest coins of your lifetime. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Among the rarest 1980 Lincoln cents ever discovered was a double-die error coin with full red coloration, struck perfectly and preserved in near-mint condition. This incredible penny was authenticated, graded by professionals, and listed at a prestigious coin auction where collectors from around the world gathered to place their bids. In the end, this single 1980 Lincoln cent sold for a mind-blowing total of $120,000. So go ahead, check your change. Because your next penny might just be worth a fortune. Top 5. Have you ever stopped to think that something as small and common as a penny could be worth more than a luxury car? Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1985 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a tiny coin that has shocked collectors and continues to hold a special place in the world of rare U.S. currency. On the surface, the 1985 penny seems like just another coin you'd ignore on the sidewalk. But don't be fooled. Some of these coins are far from ordinary, and if you have one in your collection, or even in your pocket, you might be sitting on a treasure. The Lincoln penny is one of the most recognized coins in the United States. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Over the decades, this humble cent has undergone changes, errors, and surprises that continue to attract collectors. By the 1980s, the Lincoln cent had already made its mark. But the year 1985 stands out for a number of reasons, and if you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who loves a good story, you're going to want to hear this point. One of the first things to know about the 1985 penny is its metal composition. Unlike earlier cents made of mostly copper, coins minted from 1982 onward were composed of 97.5% zinc and coated with a thin layer of copper. This change came about due to rising copper prices and economic concerns. So, when you're holding a 1985 penny, you're actually holding a zinc-based coin that's just wearing a copper coat. But don't let that fool you into thinking it's not valuable. Because as it turns out, a few of these coins are worth far more than anyone could have imagined. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1985. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 5.6 billion coins, while the Denver Mint added another 5.2 billion. These mints were working overtime to meet demand, but in that mass production, errors began to sneak through, and for coin collectors, those errors are pure gold. Well, not literally gold, but extremely valuable nonetheless. One of the most sought-after types of error is the double die. This occurs when the coin's design is impressed twice in slightly different positions, causing noticeable doubling of letters or numbers. Imagine looking at the word liberty and seeing it appear as if it's been shadowed or echoed. That's a double die. Some 1985 pennies have this error, and collectors will pay a premium for one in excellent condition. Another exciting error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, the metal disc that becomes the coin, isn't properly centered during the striking process. The result is a coin with part of the design missing, giving it a unique and eye-catching appearance. There's also the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar meant to keep the coin's shape during striking fails or is missing. The coin spreads out slightly and appears wider or warped, making it a rarity among typical cents. Let's not forget the clipped planchet. These coins appear to be missing a chunk, often from the edge. It's a mistake during the blank cutting process that creates a bite-like appearance. While it may seem like damage, a clipped planchet error is authentic and highly collectible, but even beyond errors, condition matters a lot. The grading of a coin determines much of its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with coins graded MS-60 and above considered mint state, meaning they've never been used in circulation. A 1985 penny in MS-65 or higher is relatively rare. Most pennies go straight into people's pockets and purses, collecting scratches and wear. Finding one that looks as though it just left the mint. That's a challenge worth taking, and color plays a big role too. Collectors love bright, shiny coins, especially ones labeled as red by grading services like PCGS and NGC. These coins retain their original luster, haven't turned brown, and are far more desirable. Many of the highest valued 1985 pennies have both a mint error and a top-grade condition. That combination is like lightning in a bottle for numismatists, collectors who dedicate their time to the study and collection of coins. Another detail to look for is the mint mark. 1985 pennies struck in Denver bear a small D beneath the date. Philadelphia minted coins in that year finally began using the P mint mark for other denominations, but the penny still didn't include it. If you see a 1985 penny with no mint mark, that's from Philadelphia. If it has a D, it's from Denver. While both types can be valuable, rare errors or exceptional condition pennies from either mint are what drive the value sky high. But how do you find out if your penny is valuable? First, examine it under a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's profile. Check for doubling, unusual spacing, or anything that seems off. Sometimes, what looks like a mistake to a casual observer could be a real error. Next, consider having the coin professionally graded. Grading services evaluate authenticity, condition, color, and any known errors. Once your coin is certified, it's much easier to determine its market value, and collectors will pay more for a coin that's been graded by a trusted authority. Coins with impressive grades and rare features often go to auction, where bidding can get intense. What starts as a 1-cent piece can quickly shoot up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars, all depending on the coin's rarity and appeal. Stories have emerged of people finding these rare coins in old jars, coin rolls from banks, or even mixed in with everyday pocket change. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when or where the next valuable find will appear. Some collectors even dedicate themselves to coin roll hunting, where they buy penny rolls in bulk and sort through each coin looking for rare dates, errors, or high-grade examples. It's a patient but rewarding hobby, especially if you stumble upon a gem, and let's not ignore the nostalgia. The 1985 penny isn't just valuable for its rarity, it represents a piece of the past. A time before smartphones, when cars still had cassette decks and gas was under $1. Holding that coin is like holding a piece of history. Whether you're a serious collector, a beginner, or someone who just wants to check their spare change for a miracle, the 1985 penny is definitely worth looking at. Especially now that people are becoming more aware of how valuable it can be. If you find one in your stash, don't dismiss it. Study it. Research it. And if it looks promising, get it graded. Who knows? You might have something far more valuable than 1 cent. And finally, let's talk numbers. Among the most valuable 1985 Lincoln pennies is one that combined an unmistakable double die error, a full red finish, and an MS-67 grade. This coin was auctioned after certification and drew the attention of top collectors across the country. After fierce competition and intense bidding, the final hammer price came in at a jaw-dropping total of $100,000. So the next time you see a penny lying around, think twice before passing it by, because sometimes, a single cent can be worth more than a fortune. Top 6. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered what stories it could tell? The coins we carry every day are more than just spare change, they're miniature time machines. Today, we're going to uncover the fascinating journey of a humble copper coin that has become a legend among collectors, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny. It's easy to overlook the simple 1 cent piece. After all, it's the lowest denomination in American currency. But hidden among these everyday coins is one that has not only captured the attention of numismatists, but also stunned the world with its unexpected value. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909, a tribute to the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and over the years it became one of the most iconic designs in American coinage history. The year 1941 was a time of global tension. The world was at war, and the United States was preparing to enter the fight. Yet even during such turbulent times, millions of coins were being minted to keep the economy moving. Among them was the 1941 Wheat Penny. More than 887 million pennies were minted in Philadelphia in 1941 alone. Add to that the coins struck in Denver and San Francisco, and you get over 1 billion. That sounds like a lot, right? It was. But even in that massive production, a few very special coins were created, either by accident or due to unique conditions, that are worth far more than their face value today. The design of the 1941 penny is instantly recognizable. On the front, it features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the back, 2 wheat stalks frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, giving the series its nickname, the Wheat Penny. The simplicity of this design is what makes it so powerful. It's a tribute to the values of hard work, sacrifice, and unity, values that defined the American spirit in the 1940s. Holding one of these coins feels like holding a small piece of that era in your hands, but what makes the 1941 penny truly exciting for collectors isn't just its design or historical context, it's the rare errors and mint varieties that emerged from that year's production. Among the most sought-after types of errors in the 1941 penny are double die obverse. These occur when the coin is struck twice by the die, slightly misaligned, causing noticeable doubling of the letters or numbers. Spotting this kind of doubling on Liberty or the date can turn a common coin into a prized possession. Then there are off-center strikes. This happens when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned during the striking process, resulting in a coin where part of the design is cut off or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin tends to be. Another fascinating error is the clipped planchet. This results in a coin that appears to have a bite taken out of it. While that might seem like damage to the untrained eye, it's actually a legitimate mint error that can drive up the coin's value significantly. In addition to errors, the mint mark plays a key role in determining a coin's rarity. In 1941, pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Each has its own variations and unique value depending on condition and error types. Pennies from San Francisco, for example, are more sought after due to their lower mintage compared to Philadelphia and Denver. However, a high-grade error coin from any mint can be incredibly valuable under the right circumstances. Condition is another major factor. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, uncirculated example. A 1941 penny in MS-67 or higher condition is very rare, and when paired with a mint error, it can be worth thousands, or more. Color also affects a penny's desirability. Collectors look for bright red luster, a sign that the coin has been preserved well and hasn't oxidized into brown or reddish tones. Full red wheat pennies are especially desirable and command a much higher premium. It's amazing to think that a coin made over 80 years ago could be hiding in a drawer, a coin jar, or even in someone's pocket change. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the treasure hunt, the possibility of discovering something truly valuable in the most unexpected place. Some lucky collectors have found valuable 1941 pennies while coin roll hunting. They buy rolls of pennies from banks and search each one by hand, looking for errors, rare dates, and high-grade examples. It's time-consuming, but for those who hit the jackpot, it's worth every minute. Others stumble upon valuable pennies at estate sales, flea markets, or inside old family heirlooms. Sometimes, a penny that's been ignored for decades suddenly reveals its worth through a small, nearly invisible error on its surface. One key to identifying a valuable 1941 penny is knowing what to look for. Grab a magnifying glass and examine the coin's details, the date, the mint mark, the edges, and the lettering. Does anything look doubled? Misaligned? Incomplete? If something catches your eye, don't dismiss it. Even subtle errors or signs of doubling can mean the coin is rare. Once you've identified something potentially valuable, it's wise to have it professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. Grading not only verifies the coin's authenticity but also gives it a value range in the collector's market. Coins that are certified as mint state and have notable errors are the ones that grab headlines and auction records. In recent years, coin collectors have become more educated, more passionate, and more willing to invest big money into rare coins. The market is thriving, and wheat pennies, especially from the early 1940s, are gaining attention. Social media and YouTube channels dedicated to coin collecting have also helped revive interest in coins like the 1941 penny. Videos of collectors finding valuable coins in ordinary places have inspired thousands to take a closer look at their own coins. There's something deeply satisfying about finding a hidden gem in your own collection. It's not just about the money, it's about discovery, history, and the joy of learning something new with each coin you pick up. Even if you're just starting out in the world of coin collecting, the 1941 penny is a great place to begin. It's accessible, widely available, and full of potential if you know what to look for. So the next time you come across a wheat penny, don't toss it aside. Flip it over, examine it carefully, and see if you might be holding something extraordinary. You never know, it could change your life. And for those of you wondering just how valuable one of these coins can be, there's one 1941 Lincoln wheat penny out there that stands above the rest. This coin, in nearly flawless condition with a rare double die error, was graded by experts and verified as a top-tier rarity, after it was placed in a high-profile auction and examined by some of the biggest names in numismatics. The final bid came in at a staggering total of $225,000. So check your pockets, dust off those old coin jars, and keep your eyes open. That little copper coin might be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. Top 7. Have you ever wondered if there's a hidden treasure lying right inside your pocket change? Believe it or not, one of the smallest coins in American currency, the humble 1-cent piece, has become a true collector's dream. And today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating coins from this series, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. This is not just any penny. This little copper coin, if preserved in the right condition, can be worth a small fortune. You might be surprised to learn that a 1945 wheat penny, something millions of Americans once used to buy gum or candy, could now be a goldmine in your hands. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic and beloved coins ever minted in the United States. First released in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, this coin captured the heart of the American public and began a numismatic legacy that collectors still cherish today. By the time 1945 rolled around, the Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation for over 3 decades. But that year was unique for more reasons than one. The world was witnessing the final days of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was in full swing, producing millions of coins to fuel the wartime economy. Despite the high mintage numbers, something magical happened in 1945. A handful of these pennies were struck with rare errors or survived in near-perfect condition. These are the coins that collectors seek out, the rare few that stand out from the rest and have skyrocketed in value over time. The design of the 1945 wheat penny is classic and timeless. On the front, we see Abraham Lincoln's distinguished profile, with the word "Liberty" to his left and the year 1945 on his right. Above his head, the famous motto reads, "In God We Trust." Turn the coin over and you'll see two curved wheat stalks hugging the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design gives the penny its well-known nickname, the Wheat Penny. It's simple, strong, and filled with American symbolism. Now, let's talk numbers. In 1945, over 1 billion wheat pennies were produced across 3 U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. That might make the coin seem common at first glance. But the true value lies in the rare errors and perfect conditions that are nearly impossible to find today. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint have no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D, and those from San Francisco show an S. While all three versions are collectible, some extremely rare varieties, like double die obverse errors, can turn an ordinary penny into a highly prized collectible. One of the most coveted features in a 1945 penny is a double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice in slightly different positions, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. Collectors search tirelessly for these rare versions, which are incredibly difficult to find. Another sought-after error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. Depending on how extreme the misalignment is, the coin's value can increase dramatically. Even more fascinating are coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. During wartime, the U.S. Mint sometimes reused old foreign coin blanks or made mistakes due to the high-pressure environment. A 1945 wheat penny mistakenly struck on a silver or steel planchet is a true rarity, but let's not forget about condition. A coin's grade, the level of wear and tear it shows, is one of the biggest factors in its value. Coins graded at mint state, MS, 65 or higher are extremely rare, especially for coins over 75 years old. Collectors prize coins that retain their original luster and color. Bright red pennies, known as full red coins, are especially valuable. Over time, copper oxidizes and turns brown, so finding a red 1945 penny is like finding a perfectly preserved time capsule. To determine a coin's true grade, collectors often send it to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. These experts examine every detail, from surface marks to strike quality, and assign a number from 1 to 70. A perfect 70 is almost unheard of, but even coins in the high 60s can be worth thousands. For those just getting into coin collecting, the 1945 wheat penny is an exciting place to start. It's old enough to be historic, but still common enough that many people may already have one tucked away in a jar or drawer. Imagine going through your childhood coin collection and discovering a nearly flawless 1945 penny. The thrill of potentially finding a rare variety is what keeps collectors coming back to this hobby, year after year. Coin roll hunters, in particular, are always on the lookout for 1945 wheat pennies. These are the folks who buy rolls of pennies from banks and sort through them, hoping to find valuable pieces mixed in with modern coins. Sometimes, these lucky treasure hunters strike gold, uncovering coins with die cracks, repunched mint marks, or off-metal errors that can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It's not just about money, either. Each coin tells a story. A 1945 penny may have passed through the hands of a soldier, a nurse, or a factory worker during the final months of World War II. These coins are living pieces of American history, and that's why they're so valuable, not just in price, but in legacy. Every scratch and mark on an old penny is a fingerprint from the past, a record of a time when the world was very different, and every cent truly counted. Collectors often build entire sets of Lincoln wheat pennies, aiming to collect every year and mint mark. But what really excites them are those few, rare coins that stand out due to their condition or errors. The 1945 wheat penny has captured the attention of serious collectors because it's one of the most underrated coins of the series. It's old enough to be considered vintage, and there are still mysteries to be discovered in each one. In coin auctions across the country, rare 1945 pennies have drawn fierce bidding wars. Whether it's a double die, a high-grade red coin, or a bizarre mint error, collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add one to their collection. So how do you know if your 1945 penny is valuable? Start by examining the coin under good lighting with a magnifier. Check the date, mint mark, and look closely for doubling or unusual features. If anything looks off or unique, it may be time to consult a coin expert. Even if you don't find a jackpot coin, the search itself is thrilling. It connects you to American history and teaches you to appreciate the small details, something many of us overlook in everyday life. Whether you're a lifelong numismatist or just curious about old coins, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a piece of American heritage worth exploring. And for some, it's more than just history, it's a genuine treasure. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the true value. One extremely rare 1945 wheat penny, in stunning mint condition and featuring a rare minting error, was recently appraised and sold for a jaw-dropping price of $200,000. Top 8. Have you ever taken a moment to look closely at a penny? That little copper coin often tossed aside or forgotten might actually be a valuable piece of American history. And among those hidden treasures is the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a tiny artifact that might just be worth a fortune. This 1-cent coin may seem insignificant at first glance, but it carries decades of history in its coppery shine. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series has long fascinated collectors, and the 1950 edition stands out for several interesting reasons. To understand why the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is so special, we need to take a step back in time. Post-World War II America was undergoing a transformation. Industry was booming, suburban neighborhoods were growing, and coin production was in full force. The U.S. Mint was working hard to meet the demand for currency, but it was also a period of precision. The design and craftsmanship of the coins were consistent, yet small variations and errors occasionally slipped through, and that's where the true value lies for collectors. The front of the 1950 penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. Sculpted by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's profile has graced the penny since 1909 and remains a symbol of American resilience. Above Lincoln's head, the words, "In God We Trust," stand strong. To his left, the word "Liberty" is boldly displayed, and on the right, the date reads, 1950. It's a simple yet elegant design that's lasted over a century. Flip the coin and you'll find two iconic wheat stalks curving around the denomination, 1 cent, and the country's name, United States of America. It's from these stalks that the coin gets its nickname, the Wheat Penny. That reverse design was used from 1909 through 1958. After that, the U.S. Mint replaced it with the Lincoln Memorial design. So any wheat penny already carries some historic value just from being part of that earlier era. In 1950, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while Denver and San Francisco coins are marked with a D and S respectively beneath the date. The mintage numbers that year were high, especially at the Denver Mint. But while millions were struck, not all survived in collectible condition. Most were used in daily transactions, collecting wear and scratches that reduced their value, but among those millions, a few pristine examples were saved by forward-thinking collectors, and even fewer display rare errors that make them incredibly desirable today. One of the most coveted varieties is the repunched mint mark, or RPM. This occurs when the mint mark is punched into the die more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect. It's a small detail, but for collectors, it's like finding a diamond in the rough. There are also examples of 1950 pennies with double die obverse, where letters or numbers appear to be doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These errors are extremely rare and can increase a coin's value tremendously. Another interesting feature to look for is off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't perfectly centered in the press, resulting in a lopsided or partially missing design. Depending on how off-center it is, it can be worth a great deal. Beyond errors, condition is everything in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 1950 penny graded MS 65 or above is rare and highly sought after. Collectors also look at the color. Because it's made of copper, a penny can turn brown over time. But the most valuable coins are those that retain their original bright red luster, referred to as full red pennies. These coins are often preserved in protective cases and stored away from air, moisture, and human touch. If you happen to find one of these in your collection, you might just be holding on to something extraordinary. the best way to determine a coin's grade and value is to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They use magnification and expert knowledge to assign a grade and help verify the coin's authenticity. Even if your coin isn't flawless, small errors or unusual characteristics can make it worth more than face value. That's why it's important to check each coin carefully and never assume a penny is just a penny. For beginner collectors, the 1950 penny is a great place to start. It's old enough to be interesting, yet still relatively easy to find in circulated condition. And for seasoned numismatists, the challenge lies in finding those rare varieties. Coin roll hunting, the hobby of searching through rolls of coins from banks, has become a popular way for people to search for wheat pennies. It's a low-cost way to potentially discover something worth hundreds or even thousands. Many coin enthusiasts have found valuable 1950 wheat pennies just by going through old change jars or family collections. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. What makes this hobby so thrilling is the mix of history, art, and the possibility of financial reward. Each coin is a miniature time capsule, carrying the legacy of a different era in American life. A 1950 penny could have passed through the hands of a grocery store clerk, young soldier returning home, or a factory worker on the assembly line. Every coin tells a story, and that story becomes part of yours when you discover it. If you come across a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, don't be too quick to spend it. Look at the details, examine the surface, and consider getting it professionally evaluated. You might be holding much more than 1 cent. Whether you're in it for the love of history, the thrill of the hunt, or the potential for profit, coin collecting opens a fascinating world that's as rewarding as it is educational. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. A 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in pristine condition with rare error features, was recently appraised and sold to a private collector for a jaw-dropping price of $180,000. Top 9. Have you ever glanced at a penny and wondered if it could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if I told you that a small coin minted in 1954 could hold more value than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house? The Lincoln wheat penny from 1954 may look like any ordinary old coin, but for collectors and enthusiasts, it's a fascinating piece of history with stories to tell, and value to deliver. Today, we're diving into the magic behind this humble 1-cent coin. To understand the true appeal of the 1954 wheat penny, we have to look at its place in American history. It was a time when the U.S. was booming post-World War II, the economy was growing, and the baby boom era was in full swing. The Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation for 45 years by 1954, having been introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Its designer, Victor David Brenner, brought Lincoln's image to life with a bold profile that still remains on our pennies today. What makes the 1954 penny part of a special era is the detail in its design and the integrity of its minting. The obverse side proudly displays Lincoln's profile, along with the words, "In God We Trust," arched above his head. To Lincoln's left is the word, "Liberty," while the year, 1954, is stamped clearly on the right. Beneath the date, you may or may not find a mint mark, depending on where the coin was produced. On the reverse side, the classic wheat ears curl around the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958 and is affectionately known as the wheat penny design. Just above that, in a subtle but powerful font, are the Latin words, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. These symbolic messages give the penny both artistic and patriotic value. The 1954 Lincoln penny was minted in 3 places: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest quantity that year. Despite the high mintage, many 1954 pennies were used heavily in daily transactions. They were spent at diners, tucked away in savings jars, and exchanged in candy shops, meaning most of them show heavy wear and tear today. But here's where it gets interesting. A small number of these coins were preserved in near-perfect condition or struck with unique errors, and those are the ones that attract major attention in the numismatic world. One of the more exciting varieties collectors look for in 1954 pennies are repunched mint marks, where the D or S appears double due to being stamped more than once. These can greatly increase a coin's value. There are also coins with die cracks, lamination errors, and even off-center strikes, all minting mistakes that give your penny an edge in the world of rare coins. It's these tiny details that turn a common coin into a rare gem. Another highly prized version is the 1954 penny with a double die obverse. On these coins, the lettering or date appears doubled, making it noticeable even to the naked eye. While these error coins are rare, they are out there, and people are still finding them in old jars, estate sales, and even in pocket change. This is what makes coin hunting so exciting. Condition plays a huge role too. Coins are graded from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS, 70. A 1954 wheat penny in a high mint state, especially one with bright red color, can command serious money. Color is especially important with copper coins. Collectors prefer red pennies, the term used when a coin still has 95% or more of its original red luster. Red-brown and brown coins are still valuable, but less so. It's incredible to think how just a little oxidation or handling can shift a coin's grade and its value by hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. That's why proper storage is critical for collectors. To preserve a penny's value, many collectors use protective holders and avoid touching the surface. Oils from your fingers can cause discoloration and damage over time. So, if you happen to come across a 1954 penny that looks unusually clean, shiny, or off in some way, don't ignore it. It could be your lucky find. Always take a closer look and consider having it professionally graded. The top coin grading services in the world, such as PCGS and NGC, evaluate coins under magnification and assign them official grades that establish their market value. That little slab with a grade can make a big difference. Many collectors hunt for these coins through coin roll hunting, buying rolls of pennies from the bank and checking each one. It's a low-cost but exciting way to possibly uncover a treasure. Older family coin collections are another great place to search. Relatives may have tucked away wheat pennies decades ago, unaware that they might now be highly sought after. Another tip: check the dates and mint marks carefully. A tiny S or D under the date could change everything, especially when combined with unusual markings or flawless surfaces. Remember, the wheat penny design was retired in 1958. That means every 1954 penny is already part of a historical legacy. But those with unique traits, rare errors, or uncirculated brilliance are in a league of their own. The joy of coin collecting goes beyond money. It's about holding a piece of the past, discovering a slice of history, and connecting to moments in time when the world was very different. And now, for the highlight of today's story. Among the most pristine, rare, and beautifully struck 1954 Lincoln wheat pennies, one extraordinary example recently fetched a mind-blowing price at auction. This 1-cent coin, preserved in near-perfect mint state with flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal, was sold to a private collector for an unbelievable $165,000. Top 10. Have you ever thought that something as simple as a penny could be worth more than an entire year's salary? It might sound unbelievable, but some pennies, like the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny, are far from ordinary. In fact, this small copper coin, often ignored or forgotten in drawers and jars, could be hiding a secret fortune. Today, we're going to take a deep look at the history, design, rarity, and incredible value of the 1956 wheat penny. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, President Abraham Lincoln, on its face. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny quickly became a patriotic symbol and a staple in American currency. His profile is proud, detailed, and timeless, representing freedom, strength, and unity. The 1956 penny came at a significant time in U.S. history. America was in the middle of the post-war boom. The country was growing, the economy was expanding, and coins like this were circulating in every pocket and cash register. On the front side of the 1956 wheat penny, you'll see Lincoln's familiar profile facing right. Above his head, the words, "In God We Trust," arc across the top. To his left is the word, "Liberty," and to the right, the year, 1956. Beneath the year, depending on where the coin was minted, you may find a mint mark. For this year, there were two locations involved in production: Philadelphia, which has no mint mark, and Denver, which used the D mint mark. flip the coin over and you'll find the famous wheat ears curving along each side of the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. These stylized wheat stalks give the coin its nickname, wheat penny. Above the denomination, you'll also see the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. This phrase, combined with the strong visual symbolism, made the wheat penny a treasured item even when it was just worth a cent. In 1956, over 1.5 billion wheat pennies were minted. That's a huge number. But despite the high production, not all 1956 pennies are created equal. Some are far more valuable than others. The reason lies in small details, mint errors, variations, and the condition of the coin. These factors can turn a common penny into a collector's dream. One rare and highly sought-after variety is the repunched mint mark, commonly referred to as RPM. In this error, the D mint mark is stamped more than once in slightly different positions, making it look like it's doubled or blurry. Another collectible trait is a double die, where parts of the design appear to be doubled due to a misalignment in the minting process. This is most noticeable in the lettering or numbers. Errors like these make a coin stand out from the billions of others and are what collectors go crazy for. Even a slight misprint can increase the value of a 1956 penny by hundreds, or thousands, of dollars. Aside from errors, coin condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better preservation. The most valuable coins are those that look like they just came off the press. That if your 1956 penny has a bright red color and flawless surface, it could be classified as mint state red, MS 65 or higher. These are the coins that fetch eye-popping prices in auctions and private sales. Color also plays a big role. Because pennies are made from copper, they tend to darken over time. The most valuable examples are those that retain their original fiery red luster from when they were first minted. Collectors categorize these colors as red, red-brown, and brown. Red coins are the rarest and most valuable because they indicate minimal exposure to air or handling over decades. Proper storage is essential. Many of the most valuable 1956 wheat pennies were preserved in coin albums, coin flips, or airtight holders. Keeping them away from moisture and human oils helps retain their condition. That if you think you have a 1956 penny that looks different or is in great condition, don't rush to spend it. You may want to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies specialize in grading and authenticating coins. Their certification provides assurance to collectors and greatly increases a coin's market value. Coin roll hunters and estate sale explorers are always on the lookout for the 1956 wheat penny. Even today, people are discovering rare examples in old coin jars passed down through families. One of the most exciting things about the Lincoln wheat penny is that it feels accessible to everyone. You don't need to be rich or a professional to find one. All it takes is a keen eye and a little bit of luck. Each wheat penny is a miniature piece of American history. It connects us to an era when pennies actually bought something, and when craftsmanship in coins was something to admire. It's fascinating to think about how many hands a single penny could pass through, lunch counters, corner stores, gas stations, before ending up in your hands decades later. These tiny coins tell stories. They carry the weight of a generation, and for collectors, they represent history, art, and hidden value all in one. So the next time you come across a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny, take a moment. Look at it closely. Check for any signs of errors, examine its color, and consider having it appraised, because hidden among the billions of common coins are rare treasures, coins that have survived the decades in near-perfect condition, just waiting to be discovered. And now, for the most exciting part of this story. One extraordinary 1956 Lincoln wheat penny, boasting a brilliant red color, flawless surfaces, and a rare error, recently sold for a staggering $155,000.